Ooh. Oh, man. Oh. Alright guys, welcome back to Days of Darkness and welcome to my review of Hellraiser 3, Hell on Earth. This one came out in 1992. It is starring Doug Bradley, Terry Farrell, and Paula Marshall, and was directed by Anthony Hickox. Now, so when I announced that I would be watching this on the last review ski, I said that I had never seen this before. And that I was hoping that we'd get one more good one before we start going up shit creek. Because I'm pretty sure the next one, yeah, Hellraiser 4 is when he goes to space. So I was hoping we'd get another just fucking awesome one. I think the first Hellraiser movie is a horror masterpiece. Really, really, really enjoy Hellraiser 2. This one's very middle of the road for me. And unfortunately, I'm kind of leaning more towards the bad side of the road. I think this movie has its moments. I think there are certain little bits of this movie that if you just put into like a Pinhead compilation, because I'll just say right now, Doug Bradley's Pinhead is the best part of this movie. He is fucking phenomenal in this role. I really can't picture anybody else playing him. And I know, I'm pretty sure the fourth one is his last appearance as Pinhead. So I'm curious how he handles the whole space thing. And to be honest, I don't even know how heavy space is involved in that one. But we're not talking about Hellraiser 4. We're talking about Hellraiser 3. But anyways, he's easily the best part of this movie, no doubt. Doug Bradley's fucking phenomenal. But yeah, if you were to just take little bits and pieces and put it in some Pinhead compilation, you know, there's certain aspects of this movie that really, really work. Mostly Pinhead. But there's some other stuff visually that I think is cool, but it's a huge downgrade, man. I think part of the problem with this is it feels... the first two were made in the 80s, and I'm not saying the cultural difference, you know, the human cultural difference between... I believe the Hellbound was in 88. This is in 92. I'm not saying the, you know, cultural climate is that much different, but this just does not fit the Hellraiser tone to me. My main issue with this is some of the performances. I think some of the performances in this are fucking abysmal. There's just no other way to say it. And that could be a directing problem, and that could be an acting problem. And more often than not, it's a combination of both. But, yeah, and I hate critiquing acting. Obviously, I have to do it. It's part of the gig. But it takes a lot of courage to put yourself out there on camera. Obviously, the money also helps motivate people to get on camera. But I know for the most part, I shouldn't say that because I know a lot of people do phone it in, but I know there are a good amount of people who really, really try and give it their all. And I'm really not one to say who is phoning it in and who isn't. But just to wrap up that little critique there, I think some of the line delivery and the dialogue and really the delivery and the acting, it's easily the worst part of this movie. Also, just the direction this one goes in, I didn't really like that much. I think it kind of betrays the whole tone and feel of the Hellraiser franchise up until this point. The first two were very, very gothic and morose, and just, they felt like, this is going to sound weird, but they felt thick. They felt slimy. Like they felt gross in the best way possible. Fucking graphic kills, which I will say that is a big positive with this one, is we get some fucking great kills, and we'll get into that later on. But this one just does not feel like a Hellraiser movie. and we'll get into a little bit of that here in the spoiler section. But honestly, just to wrap up the spoiler-free section, you could probably skip this one. There's some cool stuff in it. I know there are some people who enjoy this movie, and hey, if you do, cheers. I can see why some people would enjoy this one. And who knows? This was my very first time watching it, so who knows? Maybe I could get some sort of weird pleasure out of this. But to me, the first two Hellraiser movies are fucking awesome. They are horror masterpieces, and to fall so far in quality from those to this in one movie is this movie did not give me a good first impression. I'm not saying that later on I can't grow to maybe like this movie a little bit, but the more I say that, the more I doubt it. I really don't think so. So, yeah, you could probably skip this one. Not the review. Stick around for the review, though. Because we are going to dive head first into the spoiler section. So let's go ahead and let's spoil the shit out of this motherfucker. Alright, spoiler time. Your ass has been warned. Now, let's just hop right into it here, baby. So I think the beginning of this movie honestly gave me some pretty good first impressions. I was like the very first scene. That's what I mean. I was like, okay, this is a cool idea. So we get JP. He is an art collector. He's this rich, spoiled fucking idiot who owns this nightclub. And he's rich. He's fucking filthy rich. And so he goes to this art gallery and finds the Pillar of Souls that Pinhead was trapped in Hellbound, Hellraiser 2 at the end. So I really, really like that they're at least trying to establish continuity. The thing looks drastically different, and you could wipe that away with some supernaturally shit, whatever. I mean, the pillar in Hellraiser 2 was fucking disgusting looking in the best way possible, and this one, it's very regal looking. It's I say statuesque because it's a statue in his eyes, and so it might as well be it has a very regal appearance, a regal but disturbing appearance. I really like the look of it. So he goes ahead and he purchases this, and you can already kind of tell he's a little bit of a dirtbag, like he's a little shifty. And I'm like, okay, all right, this is cool. So he's gonna buy this thing. He's gonna be a dickhead, and Pinhead's gonna, I would imagine, I didn't know what the fuck was going to happen, but I'm like, okay, this is probably our main character, or one of our main characters, which he is. But then it just kind of goes haywire. And just a warning, this is going to feel a little all over the place because this fucking movie is a little all over the place. So we are then introduced to Joey, who is a TV news reporter, and she is desperate for a story. I imagine from what the movie lets on that she's pretty new at this, so she's really just craving that new juicy story, like her first big break in news broadcasting and whatnot. So, she is in this hospital. She's trying to pursue this story that just doesn't work out. She can't find a big scoop. She's pissed. And so while she's while she's trying to huff and puff her way out of the hospital, suddenly this gurney just busts into the hospital. I mean, this guy's all bloody and he's covered in chains, yada, yada, yada. And they're wheeling him in. There's this young girl named Terry who's obviously very concerned for this guy. And she ends up getting kept out of the surgical room that they bring him in. Joey somehow makes it in there, though. And when she does, man, holy fuck. All of these chains just start freaking out, and this guy, his fucking head explodes, which I was like, oh my god. And at first I thought this was JP. And I'm like, oh shit, you just killed him off quick. And it was not JP. But yeah, so this fucking guy just was at the wrong place at the wrong time. Well, no, he wasn't, because he stole the puzzle box off of the pillar. So, that was pretty fucking wild. And now Joey has her scoop. I'm like, okay, cool. She pursues Terry, and then we get, this relationship building between the two of them. And which is fine, you team up in movies. It's whatever. It's cool. They're trying to find out more stuff. But one thing that really does not work for me, first of all, God bless Paula Marshall. I'm sure she's a fantastic woman. But, and who knows, she could have done way better in other stuff. I don't know. But, ooh. And look, I understand that you grade certain movies on a curve. I understand that Friday the 13th Part 4, one of my favorite slasher movies of all time, if not my favorite, does not have the best performances in the world. That's consistent with that series, though. And I'm not excusing it. It's a problem. My favorite movie, my favorite horror movie of all time, which I talk about ad nauseum on the channel, Halloween, does not have great acting. in certain regards, with certain characters. Not good acting. And, you grade certain things on a curve. Here's the thing with Hellraiser and why I feel differently when it comes to this. The first two Hellraiser films, as far as acting is concerned, legitimately some of my favorite horror acting ever. So, good morning. Anyways, so when you go from such a high bar of performance to just, I'm going to notice it. I'm going to be harder on it, because this is a series that should take something like that, something like acting and acting quality, a little more seriously. And Paula Marshall just does not do a good job in this. And not Terry Farrell. The gentleman I don't know the actor's name, but the gentleman who plays JP isn't much better. And I think a good amount of this could be direction too, because there are moments where JP, there are conversations, especially between him and Terry. It feels like I'm watching a 90s energy drink commercial. It's just so frenetic, and they're talking like this, and yada yada yada. And I'm exaggerating, but the fucking bad thing is only slightly. They're fucking, it's just weird to me. It feels like I'm watching a commercial in the 1990s at certain points. It does not, and that very well could be a direction thing. I don't know. I wasn't on set 1992. I wasn't even fucking born yet. So, again, all love to Paula Marshall, all love to, the gentleman playing JP, and anyone else who really doesn't do a good job in this, but it's not good. And then Terry Farrell, who plays Joey, does fine. I think she's serviceable. I don't think she's great. There's some really bad dialogue with her and some bad line delivery, yada yada. Same old complaint with this one. But my problem with the Joey character is fucking, they shoehorn these dream sequences in, and I guess it's to establish some sort of feelings towards her, and it's trying to get the audience to care about her, and it's her dad who died in Vietnam, which it just feels super ham-fisted, and the dream sequences are not good, at all. They do not look good at all. It's just, there is a way you film war, and they just did not pull it off. It doesn't look good. They reuse the same shots a lot throughout the movie. It's just not good. Just not good. And we spend a lot of time away from this character. That's the impression I got on first watch. Because we spend a lot of time with, JP, and we spend a lot of time with Terry as well. And we basically have three main characters in this movie. So when you're asked to really, really invest in one of them, but you don't spend a whole lot of time with them, and the time you do spend with them, it all feels like very tacked on exposition that, like, it's literally just dreams. Like, oh my god, we forgot to make the audience care about her. Here, insert this stuff about her dad dying in Vietnam. And I guess that's, I guess you could say that's them trying to allude to Elliot Spencer, Pinhead, and him being a soldier in World War One. But I don't get the connection because there really isn't one. It's just, it doesn't work. It just does not work. And the character of Joey, to me, far step from Christy in the first two Hellraiser movies. Just, oof, God, not good. Moving on, we've talked about this quite enough. So they pursue finding out more about this puzzle box and finding out what the fuck is going on. And they find out a good bit. We get to see some footage of Christy. I'm pretty sure it's supposed to be Christy on that tape from the Chenard asylum place. And just reminded me of previous greatness in this otherwise not very good movie. But yeah, man. So they are doing their thing. And meanwhile, JP does a lot more dirtbaggery. And he seduces a young blonde woman to, I don't know why I needed to state that she's blonde. She's blonde. Seduces her, gives her a rose. And he's a very good-looking guy, for sure. No doubt about it. And he sees a good-looking lady, so he, gives her the rose and gives her some line about, like, don't be ashamed of yourself. Don't talk down on yourself, and being a very, very sweet guy. And then we cut to, like, the most fucking hilarious sex scene like I've ever seen. It just, it's weird, man. It's weird. A lot of boob grabbing, a lot, which, that in of itself is all good. But just I'm gonna try not to get too graphic. But the position he is in. It's fucking funny. Like, it's missionary. But just the way he's angled and he's like up straight. It's like the fucking weirdest thing. And he sounds like he's in pain for a lot of it. And then, when he finishes, he, like, raises his arms out in this crucifix pose. And I'm like, that was just so... like, why the fuck would you just do this? I just don't... I don't get it. It was fucking weird. It was just a weird sex scene. But yeah, man, so he wraps up. I actually forgot to mention the fact that when Terry revealed that that this kid who was on the gurney with all the chains on him and shit, he had he stole the puzzle box, and I keep wanting to call him TJ. JP goes and investigates this, like, hole that this kid left in there where he stole it. And he sticks his hand in there and he gets bitten by a rat. And he, like, spills blood on the fucking Pillar of Souls. And it fucking, Pinhead's, carbonated face, like, fucking lights up and shit. I say carbonite because, especially when Pinhead's talking in the Pillar of Souls, it reminds me a lot of Han Solo and Carbonite. It just visually looks like that. But anyways, so, that was a big left turn. Like I said, this is gonna be all over the place. Sorry. But so they wrap up, you know, having fucking weird yoga sex. And he ends up being a dirtbag. He's like, put your clothes on, give me my shirt back, and get the fuck out. You know, very, very, very dirtbag move. And she's going off on him. And then the pinhead pillar of souls fucking thing comes to life, grabs this woman, hooks chains in her fucking skin, and kills her dead. I mean, we'll get into that later on. But yeah, holy fuck. JP's obviously like like fucking freaking out. And that's one thing that I kind of had a problem with again with the Joey character is she does not seem that perplexed by what is all going on here. I get it. She watched a video with Christy talking about what's going on. Fine. So she knows what it is. But you should be a little more, like, bewildered at the fact that you're interacting with fucking demons and shit. Like, show a little something. It's just, she's very paint by numbers, you know, point A to point B type performance. And I'm like, and that's a writing problem too. Really is a writing problem. But I'm just like, why are you not, like, shocked? But yeah, man. So this thing springs to life. JP's freaking the fuck out. And he ends up cutting a deal with JP because now it's just Pinhead's head. And he talks JP into luring more souls to him. I love the scene of JP trying to blow his face off with his gun, and Pinhead just spits out the bullets. Very 90s action movie cornball shit, but it was still pretty fun. Just him just spitting out the shells. Very, very cool stuff there. So JP obliges. He tries to lure his ex-girlfriend, who is Terry, back to his place of slumber / weird yoga sex. And I want to cut away real quick to the relationship between Terry and Joey. So while they are pursuing this, pursuing information on what the fuck the puzzle box is, what the fuck's going on with this, you know, these demons and all this shit, as an audience member, you are expected to just think that these people are all of a sudden very close. Because they depict them, like, right off the bat of being extremely close. Especially after she gets all the answers she needs. Terry's like, okay, see you later. And she's like, oh, well, no, you know, I know you need a place to stay, and yada, yada. It's like, you just met this person. And I get it. You can excuse it. She's being nice. You know, and I understand you can form friendships fairly quickly. It's just, it's weird that they all of a sudden just grew so close so quick. And not only that, but you are expected to just not bat an eye when Terry finds out that Joey is taking up a job in like another, because they're in New York in this, and she's taking up a job in some other place that's not in New York. So Joey's like devastated, and she's like, oh, my best friend is like leaving me. She doesn't say that, but it's like, you just met this person. Like, I get it. I understand maybe you have a friendship and a fondness towards them, but not like, she's like devastated. And, you know, when JP asks her to come on over and relive the glory days of #weird yoga sex, let's get that going in the comments. Just spam weird yoga sex. I want to see it. But anyways, so when they go over there, or when Terry goes over there, she's like, just heartbroken and is talking to him about this, and she crying, and she's like, I don't know if I did something wrong or blah blah blah. I'm like, you just met this person. Why do you give this much of a shit? Like, maybe she's worried about not having a place to stay. Fine. It's clear JP's going to let you stay there as long as he can have some weird yoga sex. I'm going to stop saying that now. I'm sorry. But it's weird. It's doesn't make any sense to me. If someone wants to defend it, feel free in the comments. We can have a conversation about it. But I didn't get that part. But yeah, man. So JP has more nefarious plans than just. I said I wasn't gonna say it again. So weird yoga sex. He has different plans, and so he is trying to get her to approach the pillar. Like, he's like, it's this really awkward scene where I'm pretty sure she just straight up is like, I need a hug or something like that. And he's like, no. He's like, here, I'll hug you or something. And like a little kid, Terry's just like, and he's like, no. And he's like standing right next to the pillar. He's like, no, you need to come over here. You need to come over here. So she does. And he tries to like shove her into the pillar. And I love Doug Bradley. I love his performance in this movie. He's the shining light of this movie for me. But when he shoves her into this pillar, there's just a big rapid zoom into Pinhead's face, and he's just like, ah! I fucking laughed so hard. It's just this immediate cut. And the special effects, for the most part, are really good in this movie. But 1 second, it's like just stone statue Pinhead. And then, like, boom, it's just like Doug Bradley in a fucking hole in the wall. Like, it's so abrupt. It doesn't even look that fucking bad. It's not great. But it's not horrible either. But just the smash cut of him just screaming, it fucking gets me. I love it. So she manages to escape. She has brass knuckles. He's trying to drag her over to this pillar again. She has these brass knuckles and knocks him the fuck out. Like, he's out cold. She's able to wiggle him around and move him around and shit. He's out. And then Pinhead convinces her to, and again, great dialogue. All of Doug Bradley's stuff, for the most part, is really, really, really good in this. I really love his performance. But he convinces her to join up with him. And, her first, she's like, where's the key? And he goes, the keys lie broken and bleeding at your feet, and it's JP. So she shoves JP over to Pinhead. We get a pretty funny shot of JP waking up. And it's just a shot, as a POV shot on the ground looking up, and it's just Doug Bradley's face out of a pillar just looking at him like that. It's fucking funny. But yeah, man, so Pinhead ends up hooking JP with all the chains and shit, shoves a fucking something through his head, and kills him, and then we will see later on turns him into a Cenobite. And then with that, he's able to gain enough power, and he breaks out of the pillar, and we have full-body Pinhead, which is fucking really cool to see. Once again, Pinhead looks... I'll say whatever I want about this movie, but Pinhead looks fucking awesome. He always does. I can't really speak for the later sequels, but from what I've seen, which is not a lot at all, Pinhead always looks pretty damn good. So now he has convinced Terry to be his right-hand woman, and he extends his hand, she takes it, and to the best of my knowledge, that's the last we get of Terry. Just, boom, gone. I'm like, This was like one of the main people in this fucking movie. What the fuck? Whatever. I mean, we get her later on as a Cenobite, but to the best of my recollection, that is it. This is the last thing we see of her. I'm like, okay, I guess. I mean, he did promise her like, some pretty crazy stuff. Like he's like, out there's and this is not the quote because I cannot remember it. But he's like, out there's nothing for you, and with me, you could have everything, basically, is what he's saying. So I'm guessing that's just when he turns her into a Cenobite. I'm like, okay, again, why are you so, like, what happened to you, really? I get your life is not great. Like, I understand that. But, just fucking, I don't know. I'm not going to think about it too much longer, because this film is, to be honest, doesn't really deserve that. We're going to jump around a little bit, though. So we get to see Terry interact with Elliot Spencer, who is Pinhead. And it is revealed that, in Hellraiser 2, when Christy was able to awaken Elliot within Pinhead, this is what I gathered at least, she basically split the two apart. So now Pinhead is his own entity, and Elliot Spencer is his own entity as well. Obviously, he's still dead. But I like the exploration of that character. And I really don't even mind the idea of them being split up. It just doesn't work very well. And that's another thing I gotta get into now that Pinhead is out and roaming around in the world in this movie. They pretty much turn Pinhead into a slasher villain. Like, he is essentially a fucking super being that wants to just kill people. And I'm like, because, now the chains of hell no longer bound him, so he can just do whatever the fuck he wants. On the surface, it sounds like a cool idea, but to me, that's not the appeal of Pinhead. I don't want my Pinhead to be a slasher villain. It doesn't work for me. The cool idea of Pinhead is that you fucking unlock the box, and there he is to make you pay for your sins and yada yada yada. That's his whole deal. And all the other Cenobites as well, which I fucking miss them, because the ones we get in this are just shit. They're just not good. But yeah, man. So we get slasher Pinhead, but we're jumping around again. It's gonna be all over the place. And Elliot basically is just a exposition dump character, but he explains to I can't even fucking remember these characters' names, dude. Hellraiser 3, people. He explains to fucking Joey that basically she needs to make Pinhead whole again so he can go back to hell where he belongs. And so she ends up, she catches wind of what's going on at the club. A bunch of people badly injured, badly burned. And I guess this is Pinhead's way of sending a message to her, because the TV's unplugged, and it's clear that fucking everyone in that club is fucking dead. I mean, he goes on a goddamn rampage, dude. It is ridiculous how many people he kills. Pretty cool. But it still doesn't work for Pinhead, in my opinion. Cool to see a bunch of chains flying into people and lopping people's heads off and going through skulls and yada yada yada. All that's well and good, but it just does not work for the character for me. But we get the confrontation between Joey and Pinhead, and yeah, God, this final duel is such a haze. It's so fucking weird. We get some action with the new Cenobites, who are not good. One of them is her cameraman, who has a camera in his face. Like, this is just this camera, and he like takes it and takes one guy and fucking like punctures. Adjust the camera there a little bit. Adjust fucking his lens shoots out of his fucking eye socket and pierces a hole through this guy's head, which was cool visually, but I'm like, seriously, dude? The fucking Cenobites in the first two Hellraiser movies were so cool. They were so fucking cool. And we get this, and like JP's a Cenobite and has this weird fucking thing in his head. And Terry's Cenobite is that she smokes. She has like a fucking cigarette in her neck, I think. It's fucking stupid, dude. They just look fucking horrible. Oh, there's one guy with CDs in his head. That's his thing. Is he has fucking CDs just all over his fucking... They're like engraved in his head and shit. I'm like, why CDs? What the fuck? Like, it's so hokey and stupid. I just don't fucking like these Cenobites at all. Pinhead's cool. But goddamn, dude. And finally, one really good thing about this final confrontation, and yes, I know I'm going all over the place, and I am not talking about this whole thing in order, because to be honest, I'm only talking about the things that stick out, because this thing fucking drags a lot. But to me, I'll talk about the best part of this final act and then the worst. Best being that scene in the chapel where we get a random priest who is angered by Pinhead. At one point, he tries to attack Pinhead, and I'm like, why the fuck would you... Even if this guy is not paranormal or, you know, a demon, he has fucking nails in his head everywhere. Why would you want to fuck with somebody like that? But and then, you know, you get the fact that it's fucking Pinhead. But yeah, man, so Pinhead ends up, you know, getting the better of him very quickly. And I love the line delivery of, this is my body and this is my blood. Happy are those who receive me, or something like that. Fucking great stuff. Again, I cannot do Pinhead justice. But yeah, man, all of Pinhead's stuff is really, really good. He takes two of the nails out of his fucking head and sticks them through his hands, and he does the crucifix pose, and he's just like, I am the way. I'm like, oh my god, dude. That is the scene of the movie. That scene, to me, doesn't save this movie, but that's one of those things that I'm gonna go back and watch, because I really, really like that scene. Fucking cool stuff there. Just in that delivery, too, that I am the way. Like, oh my god. Fucking awesome. But then we have the worst part of it, which we go back to the dream stuff with Vietnam, and Pinhead becomes Freddy Krueger and is able to invade her dream and pose as her father. And again, like, how is he able to get into people's dreams? Who knows? And seeing Pinhead in like a heavy nature setting with very stark, bright lighting. And by the way, it looks like shit. Like, these dreams, I know I already said it, but like visually, like quality-wise, it looks like fucking dog shit. I get they're trying to allude to the fact that it's a dream. Just not good. Just not fucking good at all. And seeing Pinhead just in this brightly lit area with all these trees and foliage everywhere. Does not. It's almost nauseating to look at. It just doesn't fucking work. Pinhead in a church, cool. Pinhead in a dimly lit, smoky environment, cool. Even the way he did up the nightclub and it was all red and orange and shit everywhere. And like that, they looked fucking cool. He looks cool in a lot of this movie, but that fucking dream sequence, dude, oh my god. Fucking, it's like the worst part of the movie for me. And there's a lot of bad shit in this movie. That's probably the worst, though. But yeah, man, so we wrap it up with Elliot Spencer basically confronting Pinhead, and they're talking to each other, and, you know, Pinhead ends up wrapping Terry in, like, this leather bondage shit, and he even tells Elliot Spencer, he's like, come on, you know you'll enjoy this just as much as I do. Because they're the same person, you know, and I like the fact that Elliot Spencer, for a moment, looks rather tempted. I mean, you got to remember, Elliot Spencer, if the movies or in backstory we get right from this point, up until this point has been any indication, he was not, I don't know if that sentence made any sense. If the backstory we received up until this point, I'm very tired, excuse me, is any indication, Elliot Spencer is not the best guy. You know, he even said, he's like, I would indulge in some pretty fucking crazy pleasures. Obviously, the bondage thing being one of them. So he ends up, you know, remaining a babyface though, and they are able to get the better of Pinhead, and she is able to configure the puzzle box into a way where she stabs... No, so they bond. They, like, form into one, and basically Elliot Spencer absorbs himself inside into Pinhead. And, you know, now Elliot Spencer has some control, and he goes, send us back to hell where we belong, or send me back to hell where I belong, yada yada. And so she does. She configures the puzzle box into a thing and stabs Pinhead in the heart, and he fucking goes back to hell. And that's it. And yeah, man, she ends up getting out of there alive somehow, and that's it. I know there was some shit with the ending, if I'm being totally upfront and honest. After that, after he went back to hell, I just kind of went in this haze where I'm like, okay, we're wrapping it up. Cool. Woof. God, dude. Just not a fucking good movie at all. I would love to revisit this someday and maybe see if my mind changes a little bit on it, but oh god, it just, the dip in quality is drastic here. I am not, you know I break these Hellraiser reviews up. I like doing that with a series because I'm obviously running through the Alien and Predator series right now, but oh good god, dude, this just was not good. It's just, oof. Like I said, some good shit here and there. Look up the Pinhead church scene, and that's really all you gotta see. There's just not a lot to this. But, as I mentioned, one of the good things that this film does very well is the blood, the guts, and the gory bits. So let's go ahead and get into my kill of the film. Stick around. Hellraiser 3, Hell on Earth, is not a very good movie. There's just a lot of problems with it. But like I said, we do get some pretty cool kills, so let's get on into it. Thought the JP kill was pretty good. You know, just gets the thing through the fucking head. Thought that was solid enough. You know, he's twitching and shit, gets the hooks in him and stuff. Fine. You know, serviceable. What stood out to me best of all, if you want to count the Pinhead thing as a death, just getting a stab in the heart, that's whatever. The fucking kills in the nightclub are brutal. Like, they are fucking killer, literally. Really, really good stuff there, man. Just, like I said, shit flying through people's heads. One guy gets a bunch of CDs and records stuck into his fucking head and shit, which I'm pretty sure he's the one who ends up becoming the CD Cenobite, which is like, but, but yeah, really, really cool stuff there. Again, visually, does it match the Panic character? No, not at all. But yeah, man, so easily to me, the death of the film. Oh, the head explosion kill in the beginning was really, really fucking cool too. Those chains and the lightning and all that shit fucking flying around, and you just get this awesome head explosion. I was like, oh my god, I just got kill of the film. But no, kill of the film easily is going to go to the blonde girl that JP has weird yoga sex with, and then when she awakens the pillar, it hooks her skin, turns her around, and just in one fell swoop just peels all of her fucking skin off. I'm like, oh, fuck. Oh, shit, dude. What a killer fucking awesome kill, dude. That was one of the things, again. Little strokes of brilliance here and there. That was fucking awesome. What a fucking great kill. Good callback to the previous movies, too. With having, like, a skinless figure. But she does not last very long. Awesome. Awesome, awesome, awesome. In an otherwise not very good movie. So yeah, guys. That'll fucking do it. Hellraiser 3 in the books. Eventually, we will get into Hellraiser 4 and onward. I just need to... Honestly, I need to get a hold of them on physical media or find a place where they're streaming. And I like the fact that I break these up. But yeah, man. So that'll do it for Hellraiser 3. Next time on Days of Darkness, we are going to be continuing our Alien and Predator series where we take a look back at the original Predator. Holy fuck. I am very excited to talk about this one, guys. But we'll save that for later on. Without further ado, take care of yourselves, take care of each other, and keep watching horror. All right, guys. You have a good rest of your day.